When you look at how amazing Dubai has become, it's all thanks to the smart leaders in charge. It all began with Sheikh Rashid, who was worried about what would happen to Dubai when the oil runs out. Then Sheikh Mohammed came along and made Dubai a famous city all over the world. Every time you go to Dubai, you'll see that it keeps changing. There are new buildings, cool places to visit, and more. It's like a city that always has something exciting for you to see. In the United Arab Emirates, they like to have the best of everything, like the tallest buildings, the biggest malls, and super fancy hotels. They even make their own islands. But some people think Dubai is a bit too focused on tourists and not enough on being a real home for people. Some people think Dubai doesn't feel like a real city. When you live there, you start to sense something artificial. You might wonder why things seem off. Why can't you shake that feeling that something's not quite right? You know when you go to Las Vegas and they have a fake Eiffel Tower or a pretend Venice? It's nice to look at, but it's a bit silly. Dubai can feel the same way. Even the most impressive things might feel like they're just there for show, not really part of the city. It's like being in an amusement park. You might also feel like you're being watched or controlled. It's not that you can't break the rules, you can, and it's not that hard. But that feeling of being watched never quite goes away. And walking around Dubai isn't easy, especially in the newer, more touristy areas. If you try to walk, you might feel a bit silly because it's really hot and there aren't many pedestrian-friendly things. It's better to drive or take a cab instead of walking. In the older part of the city, it feels more like a real city, but not many tourists go there, and the government doesn't want them to. Most people living there are from India, Pakistan, and the Philippines. In Dubai, these folks don't have the highest status, and it's like a different world where the tall, shiny buildings are not as common. When it comes to going out at night, you can find different types of clubs. Some are for people from the Arab region, some for Filipinos, Africans, Indians, and some for everyone, but mostly aiming for white or wealthy people. Everyone in these clubs dresses similarly and listens to similar music. They can't risk playing different music. They like things to be the same everywhere. It's like a rule. Oh, and people like to go to places that look fancy, but not everyone there is actually fancy. Some are just trying to look that way. People often have short-term relationships, but in some clubs, there are people who look like regular guests, but are actually selling their company. Some dating apps also have lots of people like this. Beautiful women know many people want to be with them, so they can be quite picky. Many are looking for someone with money, so the dating scene can be tough. Dubai is a city that really wants you to spend money. If you want to go to the beach, you can, but you can't have alcohol there. And if you want to have a drink, you need to go to expensive clubs. If you have a family or a boyfriend or girlfriend, life can be easier, but it can still feel like you don't have many friends to talk to. It's weird because people complain about this, but they don't want to change how they act. Everything's to be for taking pictures, not for you to enjoy. Making new friends is tough. It's almost like make money here and leave, or spend all your money here. Dubai wants to be a big city where people have big dreams, but it's not quite there. It's like a high school kid trying to hang out with adults who work because it copies them but doesn't have the same goals and experiences. Dubai has lots of rules because it's a bit like a dictatorship, and this makes it hard for dreamers, artists, and geniuses to contribute their ideas. They try to copy Western city lifestyles and add a religious touch in a region where there's often a lot of trouble. This can trick people with the promise of big paychecks and high prices, but it lacks the real heart and charm that other cities have. There are many problems with living in Dubai, and it's hard to know where to begin. A city isn't just a bunch of buildings, malls, and roads. A city is a place where people live, talk to each other, make friends, and create a history together. None of these things can happen easily in Dubai. It's not really a surprise because the authorities want people to come, work, and then leave sooner or later. This doesn't mean they're being unfair. It's their country, and they have the right to decide how they want to run it. In Dubai, people's relationships with each other can feel pretty shallow. It's like they focus a lot on making money and getting fancy cars, and then they leave. They are really happy to have the chance to do this. It's important to know that less than 10% of the people who live in Dubai are actually from the United Arab Emirates, so you won't get to interact with many Emiratis. Most of the people in Dubai are from other countries like India, the Philippines, and Pakistan. Now, you might think that's okay because you'd expect people in a Arabic city to learn Arabic, but that's not always the case. That's because many of the tall buildings you see were built by workers who left their families and live in not so great conditions. It's like they're making stuff for rich people. It's strange because Dubai has lots of money and resources, especially from oil, but they use it to make really big projects just to show off and make their country proud. Treat the workers fairly and make things more equal for everyone. Dubai might look nice with no trash on the streets and low crime, and everything is very organized, but to some, it feels like an episode from a show called Black Mirror, kind of like the episode Nosedive. Everything looks perfect, but there's a strange feeling when you're around the people. In Dubai, people seem to care a lot about the fancy cars they drive, how they look, and buying lots of stuff. It's like they really, really love money and forget about the simple things in life. Think about going to Las Vegas for a fun weekend. Now, imagine a place twice as crazy as Vegas and actually living there. Some people see Dubai as a place to call home, even though it can be quite extreme. If it were a place that felt really bad, it might be a bit like the United Arab Emirates, UAE. There are many things that aren't quite right in this country, and it's hard to know where to begin. First, it's super duper hot there, like over 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, and sometimes even hotter, like 122 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. Then there's something missing. The culture of the people who originally lived there, like the Bedouin and other tribes, is kind of disappearing because they're making everything more about money and business. The UAE is trying to mix together the cultures of the East and the West, but it's not really succeeding. What you end up with is a fake, man-made place that feels empty and doesn't seem to have strong morals or values. Some people who work in Dubai, especially those doing hard jobs like construction or manual labor, have to face really tough working conditions. They have to work for a long time, do tasks that are really hard on their bodies, and deal with super hot or really cold weather. Plus, they don't always have everything they need. The rules and laws that are supposed to protect these workers might not be enough, especially for those who don't have high-level skills and who come from other countries to work in Dubai. If they have problems at work or get treated unfairly, it can be hard for them to get help or justice. Sometimes these workers have to borrow a lot of money to pay for fees just to get a job in Dubai. They believe they'll make a lot of money and can easily pay back what they borrowed, but these fees can be really high, and with unfair interest rates, it takes a long time, sometimes years, to pay off what they owe. When workers have to pay fees to get a job, it can lead to some really bad things. They might end up in a situation where they owe a lot of money, and they have to give up most or even all of their salary until they pay off those debts. It's like being trapped in a kind of human trafficking called debt bondage. Because they owe money, these workers are scared to speak up if they're treated badly or want to leave their job. They might have to put up with unfair treatment because they're afraid of losing their job or not being able to pay their debts. Sometimes their family members might be threatened, or they might lose important things like their home if they don't stay in a bad job.